Welcome back to the Safe Room. Over the last few episodes, we've talked a lot about tearing down the museum. We talked about the janitor tax, the paradox of having the dream retro setup but zero time to actually play it, and that collector's trap where we just endlessly buy games we never touch. Today, I want to talk about the cure. We're going to talk about how to actually steal our time back, because here is the ultimate 40-year-old gamer paradox. You finally have the adult money to buy the games and the systems that you wanted as a kid, and you have no energy to play them. Let me paint a picture for you and tell me if this sounds familiar. You finally get the kids to bed, the house is completely quiet. You walk into your game room, your palace, you look at your CRT, you look at the SCART switchers, you look at the systems that's hooked up neatly, and then you glance over to the shelf full of physical discs and perfectly lined up cartridges, and you just sigh. Why? Because the sheer friction of sitting upright in a gaming chair, putting everything up, remembering where you are in a 60-hour RPG, and committing to a 3-hour session is just impossible. So what do instead? You collapse on the couch, you scroll YouTube for 45 minutes before you fall asleep. Adulthood literally stole your gaming time. And for years I was stuck in this exact loop. And a big part of it's my own fault because of my purist mindset. I told myself that if I was going to play these classic games, I had to play them the right way, quote unquote. Original hardware on a CRT with RGB output and zero input lag. Anything else was just wrong, anything else was just cheating. But a few years ago, a new trend led me to a massive change of heart. Around 2022, the Steam Deck came out and led the charge for what I call the portable revolution. Suddenly, portable devices flood the market, and the ability to play your entire Steam library anywhere was possible. It was an amazing time for modern PC gaming. But that wasn't the treasure I was looking for, though it's very appealing too. The real treasure was the ability to play retro games through emulation on these systems. I can literally just play 5 to 15 minutes suspended and come back later to pick it up right where I left off. This is very similar to what Nintendo Switch did back in 2017. Back then, my kids were just born, and the Switch made gaming possible for a dad of 2 toddlers, purely because I could play in 15-minute increments. Now, the Steam Deck and the rest of the portable PCs that have come out have completely rescued me from the depth of backlog despair. I can finally play massive RPGs again, just in 15 to 30-minute sessions before the sleep draws me in. I don't have to fiercely search for a save point in a drowsy state anymore. I firmly believe that the greatest innovation in modern gaming is not the 4K resolution, is not the ray tracing, it's not the 120 frames per second, it's the suspend button. The suspend button is what lets us play hardcore, unforgiving retro games in 15-minute chunks. It respects our time in a way that original hardware simply can't. So, to the guys watching this who are 35, 40, 50 years old, stop feeling guilty about not using your physical game collection. You have to stop feeling bad that you'd rather emulate a game in bed rather than sit in front of a $1,000 PVM. Trading purism for convenience is the only way we can survive in this hobby. We have to adapt our tools to fit our lives right now, not the lives we had when we were 15. The save room doesn't have to be a physical basement filled with RGB cables and plastic cartridges. Sometimes the safe room is just 20 minutes of quiet gaming on a handheld before you fall asleep. If modern handhelds save your gaming life too, I want to hear about it. Are you a Steam Deck guy? Switch? Switch 2? Analogue Pocket? Let me know in the comments below. Oh, and make sure you're subscribed, and I'll see you in the next one. Thanks for listening.